What is happening today? Well, we know Premier Ford will be unveiling his new cabinet for his second straight majority this morning. What will it look like? None other than Richard Southern joining us now, Queen's Park reporter from City News 680. Richard, good morning.
Mel, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Oh, happy Friday to you. I just want to bring in this live shot that where we are by Queen's Park right now. The setup is there. The chairs are set up. The tenting is out. This moved, by the way. It was supposed to be indoors, wasn't it?
It was indeed. It's a big setup. I mean, there's like 100 chairs, it looks like here. That's where Premier Ford is going to take the stage at 11:15 this morning, and he's going to call up his new ministers one by one, and he's going to swear them in right there on the steps of Queen's Park, Mel.
Okay, Richard Southern, you know a lot of things. You get a lot of scoops, and it's wonderful, and we love chatting with you here on BT. The big question was who's going to fill that portfolio when it comes to health, the Minister of Health. Yeah. And you're hearing who?
Sylvia Jones. Multiple sources telling City News that it looks to be Sylvia Jones. Certainly, that is the front runner at this stage in the game with a few hours to go. Miss Jones has been an MPP since 2007. Prior to this, she was the Solicitor General. She did play a role in the government's COVID-19 response. Again, multiple people are telling me here that it looks to be Sylvia Jones to be the new health minister. The only other name I did hear mentioned on that front was Prambeet Sakaria, who was head of the Treasury Board, but certainly looks to be Sylvia Jones, Mal.
Richard, do you know the reasoning behind a pick of Sylvia Jones?
A competent minister, again, someone who held a big portfolio, who had a role in the COVID response. I think those would be the factors going into it. I did talk to Premier Ford last Tuesday. He told me he was consulting Christine Elliott, the former health minister, on who he should pick in this role, Mel. The other big thing sources are telling me to look out for today, and this would be a big one if it pans out, Michael Ford, the newly elected MPP and the nephew of the Premier, I'm told, could be getting a cabinet post here. And obviously, if that is correct, one might imagine that the critics might be out for Premier Ford, given the close family relationship to Michael Ford. So that'll be interesting to see if that happens, Mel.
Absolutely. Now, there are two ministers that are expected to stay in play. So Peter Bethlen-Falvey, finance minister, but Stephen Lecce, you're still hearing that he is likely to stay on as education minister?
Yeah, sources telling City News Lecce is going to stay on, at least for the time being, as education minister. This is the first big issue that the newly elected Ford government has to deal with, that being negotiations with the teachers' unions. Their contracts expire at the end of August. Mr. Lecce, I'm told, will be staying on for those negotiations. Yes, Peter Bethlen-Falvey, the finance minister, also likely to stay on in his post. Not returning to cabinet, sources tell me, Mel, is Lisa MacLeod, who previously had been the Minister of Tourism. I'm also told that the cabinet's going to get larger. For instance, it's my understanding that the mining portfolio will be spun out. That was part of the Indigenous portfolio before. It's going to get its own ministry, mining, I'm told. Colleges look for that to be folded into the Ministry of Labor. So a lot on the go. We're going to, maybe we'll have some surprises at 11:15, but certainly looks to be Sylvia Jones for health, Lecce staying on as education, and maybe some surprises along the way too.
Well, that was my question. I know we have about 30 seconds left with you, but how often does it occur where there are last-minute surprises, where they're keeping their cards close, where it just, a name gets thrown out there that we had no idea about?
Yeah, there are some newly elected MPPs. George Pierre, the former mayor of Timmins, was elected for the first PC elected from Timmins in 32 years. And it's expected that he's going to be rewarded with a post. The government has done a pretty good job keeping this under wraps. I mean, I've seen no firm list, just relying on what our sources are telling us. There certainly could be some surprises when the Premier takes that stage at 11:15. Of course, we're going to have full coverage, Mel, on City News, and I'll be on City News 680 all morning and all afternoon talking about it.
Never stops working. The one and only Richard Southern. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time, sir.